Kirby speedruns are truly something special. If you're new to the channel, that might come as a surprise to you, but if you've been around here for longer than 5 seconds, maybe not. Something that I've been trying to do for a very long time is explain to people what makes Kirby Speedrun so special. Of course, I understand that not only are these games interpreted by many to be very casual, but it's also kind of hard to explain the specifics, either when people don't understand, or when people assume, again, these are fairly casual without very much depth. Yeah, I sure do surprise the heck out of people, but getting that connection, that ability to understand what it is that makes these speedruns unique from the others in the series, that can be a bit hard to explain. So there I was, thinking about what ways that I could make these easier for people to understand. And thus, I came up with the obvious thing that any sane person would. What do Kirby speedruns taste like? Oh, I'm gonna have to explain this, aren't I? I'm in too deep now. Starting with Kirbys Dreamland, this one I'm going to keep fairly simple. I would say it tastes like rice. Now, not necessarily in the sense of that's literally what it tastes like. I love Kirbys Dreamland, but I don't do very good with rice. However, in the sense that not only is it a very common and popular item of eating in Japan, but it is also the fundamental core of many, many recipes. You get your start with rice, you can honestly, maybe not survive off of rice, but that can just be the core of your everything. That is by far one of the most important pieces of a Japanese diet. I guess other places than just Japan, but Kirby was made in Japan. I'm trying to keep it there for now. This isn't going to last long, but you gotta respect your roots, your origins, and that's exactly how you gotta feel about the Kirby's Dreamland speedrun. You think it would just be, oh, this is the first Kirby speedrun, and you could leave it there, but no, there's so much foundation here, and yet there's still so much that makes it stand out and be unique from other speed games in the series. Kirby's Adventure! This one was very easy, even though I've never actually had this to eat. When I say it, you'll understand. I think Kirby's Adventure tastes like the finest of wine, and I say that for the obvious reason that Kirby's Adventure itself has aged like the finest of wine. It is not only in that regard, but also in how it is arguably a golden standard. Not necessarily that it is the single best run of all time and every run pales in comparison, but this is the standard that you have to compare it to, because this is really where Kirby, not only on a more casual level, but even for speedrunning, really comes into its own. Things that we see all the time in later games, like ability mixing, boss killing, utility, movement, all that stuff, how it can interact with environments, everything that you see in Adventure, you do see as critical in later games. And on its own merits, and compared to other games, it is heckin' good. It is, again, the finest of wine. I may not like wine much specifically, of course, but I am a huge fan of the Adventure speedrun, and it has aged wonderfully well, just like the game itself. Kirbys Dreamland 2! Alright, I had a little fun with this one. Kirbys Dreamland 2 tastes like owl cakes. Have you ever seen those little snacks? They're shaped like owls and they're cute little cakes, and you can eat them and they're super sweet, and you enjoy them. They don't take very long, and you may be thinking to yourself, man, why don't they make hamster cakes and fish cakes? Well, I guess fish cakes are a thing. You ever had fish cake? Let me know in the comments. No guesses as to why KDL2 tastes like owl cake. Hint, it's Koo. You use Koo for basically this whole category. He's so strong. Kirby Superstar! So, this one was actually a bit of a toughie, because I was trying to think to myself, what is the single best recipe ever made? Not that Kirby Superstar is my personal favorite game in the series. It's up there, and it's one of my favorite speed games as well. What I wound up going with, because Kirby Superstar is kind of similar to Adventure, and how it kind of set the foundation for a lot of things, but unlike Adventure, where it's the ideas that were set, Kirby Superstar, it was the actual execution of everything that really set the stage going forward. You look at Kirby Superstar from a speedrunning perspective, and you think to yourself, like, this is just the best thing, especially historically, so you have to wonder, what was the best thing before Kirby Superstar? That's right, sliced bread. Kirby Superstar was the best thing since sliced bread? Not quite, because Kirby Superstar tastes like sliced bread. Aren't I so smart? Let me know if I'm smart in the comments. Kirbys Dreamland 3! Alright, I'm excited to talk about Dreamland 3 because this is probably the stupidest one that I came up with for all of them. What would Kirbys Dreamland 3 taste like? How about fruity pretzel crayons? I am not kidding you. These are a real thing. I looked it up. I was wondering what kind of crayon-based recipes there were, thinking nobody's gonna make anything about crayons, and sure enough, fruity pretzel crayons. They're kind of more like a gelatinous fruit from what I can understand. That's kind of more what they look like. I've never actually tasted them myself, unfortunately, but I have seen pictures of them. I look at these and think, that's Kirbys Dreamland 3. Can you tell this video is unserious yet? Kirby 64! I should actually specify Kirby 64 the crystal shards, because the food that I picked for this one to compare to the speedrun, I'm actually going to specifically say all crystal shards are hundo. That category is edible kohakuto, or crystal candy. Get it? Get it? Crystal candy. That's why it's specifically all crystal shards or hundo. Nobody actually calls it all crystal shards. People only ever call it hundo. I don't know why I'm calling it that, but that's what it would taste like. I've had actually specifically kohakuto. It's edible kohakuto. It's quite good. Maybe I don't know if I'm having this specific one that kohakuto is. I'm just saying I've had crystal candy. Nightmare in Dreamland. This one, as a remake of Adventure, these as casual games have their similarities. They are very different games, but you can still kind of see where Adventure led into Nightmare. For speedrunning, not at all. These games could not be any more different. Movement is different. Viable abilities are different. The meta is nothing like, even for the boss endurance. One game involves you mixing for UFO and going from there. The other is dominated by ball. It's insane how different these two can be. That being said, because they're so different despite technically having the same framework, I say that Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland tastes like some good old grape juice. Which is actually kind of funny because you could actually argue that the grape juice comparison is actually pretty apt for Nightmare, whereas Adventure is a very rough around the edges speedrun that rewards lots of devotion and practice. Nightmare in Dreamland, while absolutely still having depth to it, is a much easier and more accessible speedrun to get into. Obviously, grape juice being a lot more accessible for people of all ages compared to wine, which realistically, you should be an adult if you're gonna have wine. Amazing Mirror. So I was looking for complex recipes that allow for a lot of customization, and I think the one that fit Amazing Mirror really well because of how beefy that game is none other than Beef Wellington. Just saying it out loud. Again, this is an unserious video. Unfortunately, I kind of already explained a lot of what I could. Amazing Mirror is such a customizable speedrun. You can really tackle the order of it in so many different ways. Really, just the early parts of it are the same. Kind of like with Beef Wellington, you know. When you're thinking about it, you're not going to say, I'm going to have Beef Wellington, throws in ice cream to replace beef. Like, obviously not. You're gonna start with your core fundamental of beef, and then you're gonna go from there. Although you can substitute it with different meats. I also want to really be Beef Wellington at that point. Squeak Squad. I'm actually really proud of this one. I knew what I wanted it to be, but I didn't know what kind at first, and then I actually really thought about it. I didn't even do my research. I remembered hearing this, and then when I fact-checked it, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm actually kind of right. Let's go. I don't know if I'm 100% right, but in broad terms here, Kirby Squeak Squad is Madagascar Bourbon Vanilla. See, the thing about Madagascar Bourbon Vanilla, I'm a huge fan of vanilla. I love the flavoring of it. A lot of people look at vanilla like it's very basic, but I think that's a really disrespectful way to look at it. I think it tastes phenomenal. I genuinely like it more than I like chocolate. But the thing about vanilla is that, similar to chocolate, there's not just vanilla. There's a lot of different kinds of it. And kind of overall, even if you don't know the name, typically speaking, the most amount of people will tell you that the highest regarded, the best kind of vanilla would be Madagascar Bourbon Vanilla. That's how I see Kirby Squeak Squad. Is it a plain game? Sure, but when you're really cracking this game open and doing everything that you can to beat it fast and just see what makes it stand out and makes it so much fun, that's when you really learn to appreciate Squeak Squad. But what do I like more than Squeak Squad? Kirby Superstar Ultra, you already knew it. I got the hard eyes ready. I love Superstar Ultra so much. Best game ever made, I think. I've talked about this so much. So I'm gonna go full bias mode here. My favorite food of all time. So I'm gonna say that the Kirby Superstar Ultra speedrun is the... Just imagine the single best scoop, I guess. You get like a spoon and you just scoop some peanut butter out and it is the most divine. Every single one of your taste buds is dancing a dance of love and celebration at the simple awe and wonder of the taste of this delicious peanut butter inhabiting your mouth, and you never want it to end. You just want this feeling to never stop and go on forever. That's Superstar Ultra. And it's also the Superstar Ultra any percent speedrun. Superstar Ultra tastes like peanut butter. I love peanut butter. That's my analogy. Thanks for watching. Wait, we're not done. Kirby's Return to Dreamland. All right, this one. Return to Dreamland. While you could argue if this is the case casually or not, I really feel like for speedrunning that this is a game that's not necessarily solved, but it is a game that is so refined while allowing for a lot of expression, not only in the amount of abilities that you can use, but how you use them. It kind of feels like a smorgasbord of Kirby ideas that they've had over the years, just perfected in a way that you would get when you have a game like Return to Dreamland that's building off of so much that what came in the past. So for that, I say Return to Dreamland tastes like pancakes. There's so much you can do with pancakes. There's so many different ways that you can make them, so many different toppings that you can put on there to really sprinkle things up, and that, I think, describes Return to Dreamland to a T. Return to Dreamland is the pancakes of speedruns. Klaire Fluffle channel, like and subscribe. Actually, you know what? I'll do the plug here. If you are enjoying the video, please consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and once the video is over, leave a comment saying which food that I described with the Kirby speedrun you think is the yummiest, because maybe, just maybe, you should try speedrunning that Kirby game. Kirby Triple Deluxe. This one is a little hard, largely because Triple Deluxe itself, I like the Triple Deluxe any percent, but of the main series, it might actually be my least favorite one. I'd have to think about it some more, maybe revisit the any percent rankings that I did last year. But I ultimately went with applesauce, and you're never gonna guess where this is gonna go. Applesauce is one of the easiest foods to inhale. What do you inhale with in Kirby Triple Deluxe? It's Hypernova. Alternatively, you could say Kirby Triple Deluxe tastes like burnt frog because Pyramid tastes forever and probably tastes really bad and you don't want to taste anything burnt. Grr. But I'm going to go with applesauce because I like Triple Deluxe and I like applesauce too. Applesauce is super yummy. I like it a lot, especially the no sugar added ones. Super tasty. Okay, I forgot Planet Robobot. This one is awfully specific compared to anything else, so hear me out. And I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation. I'm recording this at about 1 in the morning, so I'm very tired and my mind's not totally working straight. But chicken piccata with garlicky greens and new potatoes. I was looking at a list of recipes that filled you with energy and yet did not take very long at all to make, and this one stood out to me because chicken obviously gives you energy. Potatoes is full of fiber, and fiber is very good for you, and garlic is heckin' tasty. And while I was really hoping that I could get something that kind of was hard, kind of like maybe almost like a hard candy for Planet Robobot, Planet Robobot has so much more going for it than simple candy. I couldn't just say, oh, it's a hard candy. No, it's Planet Robobot. It deserves so much better than that. It deserves chicken piccata with garlicky greens and new potatoes. The only thing that I don't get, why does it have to be new potatoes? Planet Robobot's not all that new anymore. Maybe this video predicts the Planet Robobot HD remaster before it comes out. Who knows? Kirby Star Allies. This one tastes like a glass of warm milk before going to bed. It is a family tried and true recipe tested over the years several times. No, it's good. However, there are people out there that are saying this isn't it. Warm milk doesn't actually help you sleep before you go to bed. Kirby Star Allies, this is the 4th game just like it in a row. But you know what? Just because your facts and logic say that a glass of warm milk doesn't help you go to bed, your emotions tell you that a glass of warm milk before bed helps. And you know what? Your emotional state has a lot to do. Your mental state has a lot to do with your ability to sleep. As is to say, your mental state has a lot to do with how much you enjoy Kirby Star Allies. The metaphor is kind of getting lost here, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This one, I've talked about Forgotten Land a lot recently being a category that just really rewards your imagination. It being a 3D platformer, unlike everything else, it is really good at getting you to think creatively and rewarding you for that creativity. So many time saves have been made over these last 3.5 almost years, holy smokes, with Forgotten Land, and just people taking its mechanics, taking its bugs, abilities to their absolute limit, and doing crazy things with them. I say Forgotten Land tastes like chicken. Chicken is the food that you could do anything with. If you think in your head, can I do this with chicken? There's a chance that somebody's tried it and has found a way to make it work. There's thousands of recipes that, even just looking at basic recipes, not even talking about hyper-specific recipes that have this crazy flavor to them, and I'm sure they taste phenomenal, just like Forgotten Land, but the base form of chicken, you take this chicken and you do something with it, that's what Forgotten Land tastes like. Now, Return Deluxe, last one. This one is a lot like Return to Dreamland on the Wii, especially on a casual level, but on a speedrunning level, there's a lot of minor differences that make these very, very different. I said Return to Dreamland tasted like pancakes, and I stand by that, so Return Deluxe, because of all of what I just said, tastes like waffles. Alright, obviously this was a bit of a weird video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to do something funny. And hey, you know what? If this actually makes you think, if this metaphor that she says that's awfully weird actually winds up being true, maybe this is a game that I'll speedrun and give a shot. I think that's totally awesome, and also why this video, I have to wonder. But seriously, thank you so much for watching. Of course, please, like I said before, consider liking the channel, giving a comment about what your favorite food based on this speedrun was, all that good stuff. If you would like to go the extra mile, you can also consider becoming a Puptrin on Patreon or a Mempup on YouTube. All the financial support from me really helps, and I appreciate every single one of you, especially my head-patting Fluffle fan Puptrins and Mempups, Freakish Uproar, Lydia Scribe, Nightfall, Heavy Points, and Galaxy Fan. I love you all! And until I see you all again, I've been Klaire. Thank you so much for watching. I want peanut butter. I want Superstar Ultra. Bye!